Welcome to Micro Podcast. I have my good friend, Bret Starr. He also happens to be the CEO of the Star Conspiracy. Bret and I are talking about the state of B2B sales and marketing, which I think is something that we can agree on is it isn't working like it used to. Things kind of seem like they're broken. Bret, you just wrote a book on this. I feel like you have some good answers. So I wanted to ask you, what's wrong with the state of B2B sales and marketing right now? What do we do about it?
So first of all, we have to acknowledge that it's broken. And so if you're sitting there and you're listening to this and you're like, oh, the stuff that I used to do, that I did at this other company, that I tried here, or that used to work at the company I'm working at now, but it doesn't work anymore, you're not alone. It's everybody across the tech industry. There are many factors that have contributed to the point that we're at now. But in short, we're all doing the same thing. And when we're all doing the same thing and dependent upon the same media sources and dependent upon the same best practices, et cetera, and the number of vendors in a market segment increases tenfold, which it has over the past 10 years, yet the number of buyers has remained fairly consistent, then you end up in a world where the ability to differentiate has become more difficult. In marketing and go-to-market strategy and brand marketing and sales, everything comes down to your ability to differentiate, to occupy a space in the mind of the prospect that is different than the space occupied by a competing vendor. And our ability to achieve that outcome based on where we are today has been greatly diminished.
You used to talk about this analogy of increased fishing pressure in a pond. And it kind of made me think of that when you were talking about this. Now we're all in the same pond, same lures, many more people kind of in the same pond. I think there's something to be said about everyone doing the same thing.
I stopped using that metaphor because outside of Texas or outside of the South or whatever, it doesn't work that well. But fishing pressure is a real thing.
Going up to a boardroom in New York and being like, let me talk to you
about fishing pressure. Yeah. But the reality is when you are all limited to the same tackle box, fishing in the same pond, over time, guess what the fish learn? How to avoid danger. They don't want to be tricked into a meeting. They don't want to be tricked into clicking on marketing or whatever. But we're at a point right now where everybody's fishing with the same tackle box. And when you're fishing with the same tackle box, everyone learns to avoid all the tackle in that box.